Today I want to show you when two countries' communication is cut off. Today life is impossible without communication, and we should be concentrated to make communication more efficient and more natural. It is important for us is to understand that communication can mean everything, and it's not restricted to the use of our language only. Being able to communicate effectively is perhaps the most important of all life skills. It is what enables us to pass information to other people and to understand what is said to us. Communication, at its simplest, is the act of transferring information from one place to another. A lack of communication can ultimately lead to low morale. Because ineffective communication can create misunderstandings, missed opportunities, conflict, the dissemination of misinformation, and mistrust. Employees might just feel overall defeated. The world would be ours to create because we would have no way to understanding each other, and possibly the world. But there would be no way to communicate this to others. Even without verbal or written communication, the world would thrive on language. Body language communication is crucial for our existence, our survival as a person, as a human, as a live being. Just look at nature. All animals depend on communication to survive in the wild. Of course, we humans have advantages that animals don't. We can communicate verbally, articulating much more clear messages. It's impossible to live without communication. As social beings, communication is what connects and bonds us together, forming families, communities, and civilizations. It is difficult to imagine the contemporary world without communication because communication plays a significant role in human life, and it is impossible to do without it, regardless of whether a person likes being alone or not. Without communication, none of the living systems on Earth could exist, as life itself is an emergent process of interactions between different organisms. Whether these interactions ultimately lead to the creation of new organisms or to the death of one or both of the organisms engaged in the process of communication, the problem of determinism or non-determinism for communication, as mentioned above, lies in its intentionality. Communication with its intent can have deterministic or causal features, but unlike simple physical interactions, the outcome of communication is unknown, or non-deterministic communication is also an emergent phenomenon. We cannot really decompose it into parts as we could a car or a computer. It represents the outcome of one or several relationships between two or several organisms with various expectations and interpretations of the information being exchanged. While we may know what makes a cell communicate with another and sometimes even manipulate this in the lab, we do not know what the overall outcome of multiple cells communicating repeatedly with each other would become. Even more so in human societies, communication is very hard to pinpoint into indivisible components and to fully be able to predict what the outcome of the communication of many people or institutions would be. Therefore, communication is also an open system with potential for both creativity, further action, but at the same time misinterpretation, partial retention, and inaction. In living systems, communication is also related to memory. Most organisms communicate in order to store the information received, or they communicate based on their accumulated memory for future actions.